Hello, this is the Harboring Light. I'm Mary. I give a conservative perspective about the world around me. So, in this episode, as I was saying, on Fridays I like to focus on all of the listeners, and then, as things go forward, do different topics, different aspects about culture from these regions, either where it be literature, fashion, things like that. And then working in progress of what y'all would like to hear as topics, future topics for me to cover on Fridays. I would greatly appreciate that, either through email, through Substack, and working on my presence on YouTube would be greatly appreciated. And I appreciate all of y'all. So, that's why I would love to hear from you all. And feedback is just immensely appreciated. And I just appreciate all of you listening. It means a lot. Okay, so here we go. Let's dive in. So the country that I'm featuring this week is Germany. Here we go. All right, so my perspective about food and culture is this. I think it's really, of course it's interesting. And as I mentioned before, given the time in our near future, working all that out for me and my family, for us to travel would be great. And I'm greatly appreciative, and I admire a lot that my husband got the opportunity to travel when he served in the military. And then it's just interesting the stories he tells me, and he talks to me about when he served in Iraq, and and the layover, him going to Ireland, and all of that is very interesting. And I think for me personally, me coming from Texas, particularly born and raised in Houston, and then the aspects of going to somewhat, but that's another thing too, of me traveling all around in the U.S. too, and getting that aspect of seeing different states. So my perspective is you learn even more about a society, learn even more about a culture when you do things that, find hidden gems, or do things that are not well known. Go to places that are not well known, or eat food that is not well known. And so this is what I'm focusing on this aspect of German cuisine. All right, so here we go. So, of course, this article will be provided for you in the link of this episode. All right, so this is not only from Germany, but Austrian foods as well. And so you know that. So they're linked together with this article as far as the food cuisines. And so it's stating this. All right, so let me break down briefly about the history of German foods and the culture. So it says, in recent years, Germany has seen a significant shift towards a more plant-based diet as part of a broader global trend towards sustainability. And the aspect of food, knowing where your food comes from, health conscious aspect, that's greatly surfaced here in the U.S., and we all understand that and have the idea about that. So traditionally known for their hearty meat dishes like the broths, forgive me for the pronunciation of this, the schnitzel, there we go, schnitzel, and things like that, heavy meats with the pork, sausage, stuff like that. Germans are now favoring more and more toward vegetables, legumes, and grains, and finding delicious alternatives for animal products. So another important change is how diverse German foods have become. So the German culinary landscape of foods fuse a new dishes that appear like the doner kebab that was invented by a Turkish immigrants in Berlin. So here we go. So it asks the question also too in this piece, this article, written article. What is Germany's national dish? Germany doesn't have one official national dish, but there is a lot of traditional German food and a number of different dishes that could be considered the national dish. Okay, so here we go to the aspects of these dishes. So, Sauerbraten. The most common one is probably Sauerbraten. So, it's a traditional German pot roast renowned for its unique marinating process where the meat, typically beef, is steeped in a mixture of vinegar or wine, water, herbs, spices, and sometimes vegetables for several days. Okay, so here we go with the known bratwurst. So bratwurst is the ultimate German sausage. Its name derives from the old High German bratwurst, and it's finely chopped meat and wurst or sausage. So the bratwurst is universally celebrated for its savory, robust flavor as a staple at German barbecues and street food stands. All right, so I believe the pronunciation of this is Spachel. It's a traditional German noodle dish. Is made from a simple dough of eggs, flour, and water. So serving as a delightful companion to hearty sauces and stews, or as a main dish when topped with cheese and fried onions with this specialty. Castle spackle. And I particularly like curry. As the flavor is what gets me every time with curry. It just, even the subtlety in it, but also all the flavors that melt together. It is, when it's done right, it's not overbearing or over powerful, and it's hearty, but it's soothing to the palate at the same time. It's not. Needless to say, what I'm saying, you don't feel so the best way to describe it, when you eat food that's unhealthy, you don't feel so lethargic, you don't feel bad. And that's a good aspect of it. So currywurst. The famous currywurst is a pork sausage cut into slices and seasoned with curry ketchup. Popular as street food and often served with fries. So it also says, note that a lot of German sausages are now also available as vegetarian and vegan options. And that's good. And also the key on to this. So, okay, so, I mean, this I begs the question for me, and I'm just glad it brings that up into my mind. So, me personally, when I was 19, I was diagnosed with a thyroid condition, and that's a daunting thing if those who know versus those who don't know, as far as the aspect of what to eat for food that doesn't make you sick, and particularly gluten is a lot of the issues with thyroid conditions of enacting that, and then also the problems with weight gain, and then also with that with making sure, before then I was a chubby kid, and that when I think it's one of those things, when you experience being heavy from early age, it changes your aspect, if you wanted to or not, about how to look at things and how you go about things in adulthood. So, when I was around 12 years old and so, I felt bad about being heavy. And then, for what I respect, my mother, she gave me the perspective about health and everything, about how to see things in essentially to be accountable, really. And I give her credit where credit is due. I appreciate that. And then getting into my teen years and so, that was what I wanted to do. Be fit, be all of that. So I took measures to take care of that. So when I got older, when I reached the age of 18 and 19, my body started changing and I didn't know why. And then I was thankful that a doctor noticed it by the time I was 19. And he said, do you know that you have a goiter in your throat? And those who don't know what I'm talking about, a goiter in your throat is, like when you have a pronounced lump or something in your throat, and that's what it was. I said, no, what is that? And he said, I think you have a thyroid condition. And because of that, I discovered that was the case. And so then, of course, that it comes with it gaining all the weight and me being determined and not wanting to be heavy and trying to figure things out. Of course, the exercise and diet, but diet is, very beneficial to the weight loss process and being healthy. So going through all of these procedures, the vegetarian and the vegan, I don't think that's really healthy, but to each his own. But I'm just being honest, that's not suitable, I don't think, for the human body, how humans function naturally. So it's one thing to say, okay, you're eating as far as for health and the benefits of that, and you have a health condition, and then so on and so forth. Even if you don't have a health condition, you want to live a healthy lifestyle, which you should. And there's another thing to gloat and say, oh, you're less than if you don't eat vegan or vegetarian, or seeing it as something as a fad when you should, what is that all about? And it's, it's a very interesting aspect of how that comes into play with the aspect of how food is thought of in modern history, modern times. So, that's a little tidbit of mine. And I also like to know what you guys think about food and the aspects of that. How typically that sort of mentality of I'm making a joke here, but that kind of meat is murder versus, hey, we all have different aspects about food. Let's just appreciate that and move on. All right, so here we go to Doner. So you can't go to Berlin and not eat a Doner. So popularized in Germany by Turkish immigrants communities, it soon became a significant part of German urban culture food. It consists of meat cooked on a vertical rotisserie and is served in a flatbread or pita with veggies. That's quite interesting, how that also changes the culture when you get the immigration of different cultures coming in outside of the U.S., how that changes the palates and the views of food. And then, I find that another thing too about that, as far as the aspect of the policy of immigration and all of that, how that's seen. And I think it's just quite intriguing to me how the aspect of it, the immigration process, is dealt with in other countries. All right, so here we go on to German breads and pastries, which is my favorite. I enjoy baked good, and I also enjoy baking. Something about the artistry that can be in that with baking or the pastries. But I'm not saying that, with as far as cuisine's main dishes, there's no artistry in that. Of course it is, but needless to say, it sparks that with baking. If those in the know what I'm talking about. So in Germany, bread is an absolute staple. Sometimes they like to, let me rephrase that, from what this person is saying, not me. So they're saying we like to eat it twice a day, for breakfast and for dinner, which they call Abendbrot, or literally evening bread. So luckily, with over 300 different types of bread, they never run out of options, from dense, dark pumpernickel to the grainy Wurzelbrot. That is quite interesting. And of course, the streusel, which is a traditionally done with the coffee and Krupnik. That is an afternoon when Germans traditionally have their coffee and eat something sweet. So here we go. Brötchen. Brötchen is the quintessential German bread roll, which is cherished for its crispy crust and soft, fluffy interior. These small round rolls are a morning delight, often served with cold cuts, cheese, or jam, and are a key component for the traditional German Frühstück breakfast. Schwarzbrot. Schwarzbrot literally translates to black bread, that is a dense and hearty rye bread celebrated for its deep, earthy flavor and long shelf life. So pumpernickel, those are for me, who know about that, and who is, this is more. I don't know. You guys too, give me feedback in the comments. So me growing up, that was kind of more popular, but it seems like that's kind of phased out now. But I like to know what you all think. So pumpernickel, a dark, dense bread made from coarsely ground rye grains, slowly baked to achieve its characteristic dark color. Pumpernickel is not for everybody, but those who like it usually love it. And then I'm going to end with the Apfelstrudel. Apfelstrudel is a delicate, flaky pastry filled with spiced apples and cinnamon. So baked to golden perfection, it's traditionally served warm and dusted with powdered sugar. All right, so let me go on to the Krotz. And then it talks about Austrian food, but I won't. I'll say the intro for it and then just leave it at that, for the outro for this segment and to wrap everything up for this episode. All right, so I'm going to go through some of the Krolls and Krotz. So in Germany, Kroll means cabbage, and Krotz refers to a broad group of leafy greens and herbs. So it's most famously associated with Sauerkraut, which is a German word for fermented cabbage. All right, so Sauerkraut. Sauerkraut is made from finely shredded cabbage fermented by lactic acid bacteria. It is known for its distinctive sour flavor and health benefits. And here we go with the Grünkohl. So, Grünkohl translates to green cabbage, and it is actually kale. Traditionally enjoyed with the colder months, it is often slow cooked with onions, smoked sausage, making it a rich, flavorful winter comfort food. And for many people, especially in the north, it is the number one Christmas meal. All right, so Andy, Austrian foods. So from the bustling cafes of Vienna serving the famous Strasser Tort, the rustic taverns in the Alps are often comforting stews and wieners, sweet little Austrian cuisine that they offer a lot. So it said, keep this in mind for some of the German food words are significantly different in Austrian Germany. That's quite interesting to know that they're merged together, how things interplay as far as these different regions, Austria and Germany, how they interlace together. All right, so with that being said, this reaches the end of the Harboring Light. Tune in, turn up, and absolutely take care out there. Bye-bye now.